Very excited to have my next guest on the show. It is the Darce Knight, Kyle Daukaus, who will finally be making his return to UFC action August 23rd at UFC Shanghai when he takes on Michel Pereira. Kyle, as always, man, great to talk to you. Really excited to see you back in the big show. I first just want to start with how you got the news. I know a lot of people that follow you think you should have been in the back a long time ago. So just tell me how
Yeah.
you got the news. What was the level of excitement like?
Yeah. So Monday, it was last Monday, I think it was. Um, I saw I had two missed calls from my manager. And then he texted me saying, call me. And I was on my way to strength and conditioning at the time. So I called him back like four times. He didn't answer. Then he talked to me and said that he would call me back in about 5 minutes. Um, so two things were going on through my head. I thought either that my opponent for CFFC had gotten hurt or I got the call to fight for the UFC. So I kind of just like monitored my emotions. I didn't really get too emotional about it. Kind of just let it be whatever it was. Spoke to him. He told me that they have it opening up for the UFC and that they called me and wanted me to fight. And I said, who is it? Where is it? And I'll sign. He told me Michel Pereira in Shanghai. And I said, all right, I mean, I can't not say yes. So, yeah.
What were your immediate thoughts just about the location and the opponent?
Uh, I've had a lot of trouble with my passport before. I recently just got my passport done last year, almost to the day. So my first concern was the passport, but I remembered I already had it done. And then my second issue was the visa. I wasn't sure if my visa was going to get through in time, but it did. The UFC handled it very well. I sent over my stuff. I had everything for my visa and my passport over to them by Tuesday, and within like the week, everything was done. So that was my biggest concern was traveling, like getting my visa and everything like that, and getting approved for them. And then my second thought was the flight. I was like, man, how long is this flight going to be? Uh, what's my sleep going to be like? I have to acclimate to the time change, everything like that. Did all my research I possibly could. It's a 15-hour flight that I leave tomorrow morning. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to the flight, but this is business, is what I have to do.
Yeah. I mean, the more that I've flown, the easier it's become for me, but I still struggle with it. Like, what do you
Yeah.
do to kind of just relax yourself and just try and sleep when on a long flight like that?
So I mean, I don't know, honestly. Everything that I've researched says, try to acclimate to their time right now. But I mean, it's too close now. Like as of right now, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning our time, so it's 9 p.m. their time. So in order for
Mhm.
me to sleep, I'd have to start sleeping in 2 hours. So I have a plan tomorrow. Well, tonight, preferably. Like tonight, I'm gonna try to stay up as possible as long as I can. Try to pull an all nighter if I can tonight, and then pop a heavy dose of melatonin on the plane tomorrow. Because then tomorrow, when I leave Dallas, I fly from Philadelphia to Dallas. So when I leave Dallas, my flight from Dallas to Shanghai is at 10 a.m., which is 10 p.m. their time. So my plan is to just pop some melatonin, wait until like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and try to sleep as best as I can at that time. So that way, when I wake up, it'll be more so like the morning of Shanghai.
Mhm.
So I land in Shanghai Monday at 3 p.m. But it's crazy because I leave tomorrow at 6:30. My flight from Dallas is at 10, and then I wake up and I'm landing in Shanghai at 3 p.m. on Monday. So the time change is going to be crazy, but I'm looking forward to the challenge of getting used to it.
Who is making the trip with you and who will be in your corner come fight night?
Yeah, so my brother is flying out with me tomorrow, and then we have a heavyweight who fights a bare knuckle, who's worked my brother's corner for the UFC a couple of times, Pat Brady. He's coming and flying in on Thursday. So he leaves Philadelphia on Thursday and then lands on Friday. So he'll literally, we were talking about it yesterday. He'll literally be in the air longer than he'll be on land in Shanghai. So like he'll land in Shanghai probably like 12 p.m. on Friday, and then we leave at like Sunday at around I think 5 or 6. So yeah, so he'll be in the air within those 3 days longer than he'll be actually on land for the fight.
That's funny. So no sightseeing before or after. This is a business trip, nothing as far as getting out and trying to see what is around in Shanghai.
I mean, I'd love to, but I really just think I need to focus on the business part of this. It's my second time through, so I don't want to really leave any stone unturned. I want to just kind of focus on the fight, focus on my weight cut, focus on training, and making sure that I come out victorious on Saturday night.
And so is this a four fight contract that you signed?
Yes, it was.
Okay. You happy with the
Yeah,
money?
yeah, of course. New contract, new money. It's very exciting. I'm very grateful for the UFC and Mick Maynard for calling me up and doing all this. And it's a a new challenge that I have in my life. It's going to be like a new version of me, I believe. The old me that was in the UFC prior is not going to be able to compete or be comparable to the new me now, and I look forward to showing that on Saturday.
I'm curious too, Kyle, just like your mindset over the last 3 years, because I was, looking at Tapology. It will almost be 3 years
Yeah,
since we last saw you fight in the UFC. You've had 4 wins since then. 3 of those have been finishes, CFFC champ. I mean, was it hard to stay positive, thinking like, when am I gonna get back into the big show? I know we talked before, and you said too, like that they wanted you back, but there was just
yeah.
some things where it didn't happen initially. So just, I guess, run me through your mindset of just trying to like stay positive and just keep grinding and get back to where you're at now.
Yeah, I mean, I went through a hard time after my first like run with the UFC. I got my contract didn't get re-upped in December after my Anders fight, obviously because I didn't win and I was just a terrible showing on my part. But after that, I took a little bit of time. I wouldn't say I took a little bit of time off because I believe I fought in February the following year. But I think I fought in the beginning of December against Anders, and then from December until like I'd say mid January or so, I didn't watch UFC. I didn't partake in like any parties of my buddies like talking about the fights or anything like that. MMA was kind of dead to me after that. I was like, this might be the end of my career. Like I might not ever fight for the UFC again. And talking to my wife, I struggled a little bit, like not depression, I would say, but like it was just upsetting and like kind of like annoying to me, like how everything went and how my career went. Like it wasn't according to plan. But talking to her, I stayed very positive. We knew that as long as I, racked up wins, that eventually it could work out. But I also haven't fought since last June, or yeah, I believe it was last June of 24. So like I changed managers after my fight with, I think it was after my first or second fight back for CFFC. I changed managers. Um, I work with a guy from Vayner now who has a lot of guys in the UFC. So he's pretty close with Mick and the UFC. So that was a plus side of mine as well. But yeah, he told me that he would be realistic and tell me like if I talked to the UFC and they said they didn't want you, I would tell you and then we would just be done with this. And I was like, cool, like yeah, like that's what I wanted. I don't want to be lied to or anything like that. So yeah, we talked to them. They said that I wasn't really on the radar, but my last win had put me on the radar. So that was a plus of me. So it kind of boosted my ego a little bit. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, I knew that just going into it and getting wins and making sure that I was winning and finishing guys that like I would still be on their radar.
Mhm.
But again, they're also having a bunch of guys come up from the contender series that are they're not really inexperienced, but they're like how I was in the contender series. They're 5, 6, and 0, which who at the time, if I would have gotten signed, I would have thought it was the best thing in the world. But looking back to it now, I'm very thankful that I didn't get signed that early because I feel like it would have been terrible for my career.
How much better are you today versus the last time we saw you fight in the UFC?
Man, honestly, I'd probably kill that guy that was in that. That was like I would probably run through him easily if I fought the prior me in the UFC. And I know it's only been 2.5 years, but I've really improved in everything. I feel like my striking has been like the biggest improvement of my game, also my mental game. I was very mentally strong and everything prior to the UFC. I got to the UFC and for some reason everything kind of just went downhill from there. I'm back up to where I was prior, I feel. And yeah, I don't think this is going to be like a one and done kind of thing. I feel like I'm in the best shape that I can possibly be. I'm in the prime of my career. I have a family to provide for, so I'm going in with that mentality of just, making sure I work and making sure I win for my family.
And you were obviously prepping to fight Guram, so you were already
Yeah.
in camp, and now here
Yes.
you are fighting Michel Pereira, who's very unique, right? I think that's an understatement. He's a well-rounded, tough fighter. What are
Yeah.
the differences in fighting Pereira versus prepping for someone with obviously much less experience in Guram?
Yeah. I mean, so I've told everybody this, that Pereira is really his whole career is kind of based off of that fight he had against the British guy. I think it was British when he was doing backflips, jumping off the cage, doing all that crazy stuff. I feel like that's people hear his name and immediately think back to that fight and say like, oh, he's going to be doing this and this and this. But if you look at his career prior to that, like he's not that crazy, he's not that outgoing or wild, which still makes him dangerous. But fighting a guy that was 4-0 like Guram was, uh, his Guram striking was kind of similar to Pereira striking as far as like they're very brute, very fast and explosive in the first 7 minutes of the fight, and after that they kind of die out. So yeah, I don't really think it's like anything crazy to change game plan wise or anything like that. He's just, Pereira is just a little bit more experienced than Guram was, so he's seen a lot more things in the cage. So anything that I throw at him, more than likely, sorry about that, more than likely he's going to see anything that I throw at him at the cage. He's going to be used to it. He's been put in bad positions, whereas somebody who's 4-0 hasn't. Mm-hmm. So going into it, I just had to be more mentally aware of the positions that we're in, and just not get caught in any crazy exchanges to where like he's doing backflips or jumping off the cage or anything like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I could only imagine. He is coming off of 2 straight losses, granted, both high level competition, Fluffy and a boost. So he's probably going to feel like he has his back against the wall, and he's going to give you his all, the best maybe version of himself. Is he the most difficult matchup stylistically that you've ever faced before? Or is there someone else that you fought in the past that you think is a tougher challenge than him?
Man, I don't know. I believe the craziness of his striking and the explosiveness of his striking, that he probably is the toughest fight that I've had so far, that I'm, well, at least I'm going to have so far. Mentally, I'm prepared for that. A lot of the other guys that I fought were kind of simpler, like wrestlers or strikers or grapplers. There wasn't too many well-rounded guys that I have fought. I think probably the best well-rounded guy that I fought was Brendan Allen. That was about it. Everybody else, I mean, Anders was decent on the ground. I mean, obviously he's lost to a bunch of submissions and whatnot. But yeah, I feel like his stylistic matchup against me is probably the most dangerous guy that I've fought so far, that I will be fighting. But I look forward to the challenge. That's what the sport's about. The sport's about, improving against guys that, should be challenging you every single time you go out there.
Man, that Brendan Allen fight was such a good one. I remember that. I was with my best friend. We were at his campground. It was, middle of the night. We had it up on like the big screen, a bunch of people with a bonfire. That was such a fun fight.
Yeah,
it's
very back and forth.
Yeah, good memories. He does have 11 TKO or KO wins and 8 submission victories as well, obviously. So well-rounded guy. Is he more dangerous on the feet or on the ground? Do you think there's one area where you got to be real careful with him?
I would say striking wise, I feel like I can compete with anybody on the ground. It's just a matter of being smart in the striking exchanges that we get into. We saw in his last fight and the fight prior against Fluffy that if he's put on his back foot, kind of very hesitant, and he seems to kind of wither away, slowly if you put him on his back foot or if you can manipulate the striking exchanges. So that's my plan, is to kind of put him on the back foot right from the very beginning. Manipulate the striking exchanges, make sure that, I'm defensively active, heavy clinch, and that I'm just kind of whining on him the whole time.
Is it safe to say that like this fight probably will go deep into the fight, maybe to a decision, or do you think you could catch him early? Like what as far as like a prediction goes, what for yourself to get your hand raised, what do you think is the best scenario here for you to get the win?
And ideally I could just go out there, throw one punch and just put him out. That would be ideal. But now, I mean, I would really enjoy if this fight was kind of like grindy back and forth. Just so I can get my feet wet again in the UFC, so I can get a feel for like the atmosphere and the cage and the canvas and whatnot. But again, if the opportunity shows in the first round that I can take him out of there, I'm going to take him out of there. I'm not going to waste any time. We don't get paid by the minute in there, so yeah, I'm looking forward to getting in there, getting after him really quickly, and hopefully I can put him away in the first round.
Tell me a little bit about camp these days. Assume you have a lot of the same guys around you, but who have you specifically been getting that working with to get you ready for Pereira?
Yeah, so my brother and I recently just opened up a gym called The Forge in Philly. It's about 2 minutes from my house. It's in Parkwood. So we've been really focusing on that. We've had a lot of guys come over and training. Typically the same guys have shifted gyms with us from that prior gym. And yeah, we have a couple of Georgian guys that have actually joined up. So they've been a huge help. The one guy, Timu, I believe he's an amateur, I think, but he does like everything. He does like kickboxing, MMA, boxing, a bunch of stuff. And he's literally the identical Michel Pereira. He's 6'3". He's got a 73-inch reach, or I'm sorry, 6'1". He's got a 73-inch reach. He's just as crazy, throwing crazy stuff. He can mimic him very well. I've been working with him for ever since we got the call. So yeah, a lot of work with him. A lot of work with another heavyweight Georgian named Roddy. He's an amateur as well, but the dude's 280 pounds. So if we can move him around, then we can move pretty much anybody around. So yeah, typical guys, but they're all a lot of the guys I'm training with are a lot bigger guys. But yeah, my brother and I opened the gym up. We have a lot of MMA guys coming in now, and it's good to see, and it's good to have like respect that people are coming in and trusting us to train and help them get better.
Very cool, man. That's exciting. So the new gym, do you anticipate that to really kind of blossom and have a lot more guys maybe coming to train with you here in the near future?
Yeah, ideally, yeah. I think we've already got word out that a lot of guys are going to start coming over to our gym within the next couple of months. But I feel like I go out there and put this guy out that it's just going to skyrocket the gym up to one of the top ones in Philadelphia.
That's awesome. Is your brother gonna fight again? What's the deal with Chris?
I'm not really sure, honestly. He's really taking the coaching role over at the gym with a lot of the amateurs and me as well, helping me out as well. So yeah, I'm not really sure what he's going to do. If I were to guess, I would say no, but obviously we're where we are in our careers. If he sees me out there in the UFC winning, he's obviously going to get that itch. We have a lot of guys that fight for bare knuckle as well. We have two guys, Pat Brady and Lex Ludlow, who my brother helps coach as well. And I just see like my brother watches them fight and watches like other guys fight that he still has that itch to fight. But I don't know if just don't know if he like wants to anymore. But yeah, if I were to guess, I would say no, and that he would just focus on the coaching role from now on.
Okay. How old is he now?
He's 35. He'll be 36 this year.
Okay. Well, heavyweights can fight longer.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
So,
And the heavyweight division isn't as stacked as people think it is. So
yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Figured I had
yeah.
to ask you about your brother.
Yeah.
Tell me what is dad life like and just the whole balance of training and are you getting enough sleep?
Yes. Yeah. My wife is very understanding of making sure that I get enough sleep for fights, especially getting closer and closer to the fight. Because this is what I do as a career. So she's very understanding with all of that. Being a dad is probably the best thing that I could possibly do. Like if somebody told me like, would you rather just be a dad or would you rather fight? I'd just be like, yeah, I'll just be a dad. That's perfectly fine with me, taking care of him all day. But we also have another one due December 11th. My wife is due. So we have another boy on the way. So I'm going to have two boys here. So it's probably the best thing I could have because, I'm a fighter. This one that we have now is beating me up left and right all the day. So he needs somebody to beat up on.
That's cool. Congratulations, man. Very
Thank
happy
you.
for all the personal success.
Thank
Let me ask you a little bit about Philly sports. Are the Eagles gonna repeat as champions this football season?
you. Probably not, honestly. You know how Philadelphia is. We're good one year and then we're terrible next year. So I have high hopes for them, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't even make the playoffs this year.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't expect you to say
that's
that.
just a Philly thing. Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to go to any games? Like, I think I've
Yeah.
seen you at some games before, so you are a fan.
Yeah.
Do you make it a point to go to like certain games at times of the year? I know I do for my Patriots, but what's the thought process as far as attending games?
Now, kind of whenever my schedule's free. If my wife and my schedule's free and we see tickets are available, then I'll jump on them. But I don't have any like set games that I like to go to or anything like that. Yeah, we go to a lot of Phillies games, a lot of Eagles games as well. Oh yeah, well I'll go to a couple games this year.
Okay. I always go to at least because I live up in Maine, so it's a
Yeah.
4 hour drive to get down to Gillette. But I always go to one
Oh,
Patriots
wow.
game a year, and I make sure that I go at least by like early November because there's nothing
Yeah,
that I hate more than being there and just freezing my
and it's
tail
freezing to
off.
death. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's
Yeah.
terrible. It's a different type of cold up there.
Yeah, no, for
Crazy.
sure. So, let me ask you this weekend. Actually, it's tonight. UFC 319. The middleweight title's on the line. Dricus du Plessis, Hamzat Chimaev. Give me your analysis of that title fight and how you see it going.
Man, I think if it gets out of the first, I'll say 7.5 to 8 minutes, that it heavily favors DDP. I feel like that's how it's going to go. I feel like DDP. It's going to be like Usman's fight was against Chimaev. I feel like Chimaev might dominate the first round, but once he realizes that like DDP is a lot better than people think he is, that it'll kind of favor more in the DDP's side, and I think he'll come out to win. I think DDP might just win by a decision, but I don't really see it going like a back and forth fight. Ideally, I would like it to be like Shogun and Dan Henderson, who was just knocking each other senseless the whole time. But I feel like obviously the further into the rounds it plays, the more in favor it goes for DDP.
That's exactly how I feel. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that DDP's the underdog. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen that.
No, I mean, I don't really pay attention to that stuff. I figured he was just because people don't like his style. People aren't really interested in that like crazy style that he has. They're very like unsure of how he wins these fights and whatnot. But yeah, the dude's talented. I think the dude's he obviously hits hard, and that awkwardness of his striking just makes it that much worse when he hits you.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch tonight. I'm
Yeah,
on my way to New Hampshire after we're done here. I'm doing the
nice,
commentary for Combat Zone, and
awesome,
then
man. That's
hopefully
sweet.
it'll be done in time where I can catch the main card.
Yeah,
Let's circle back here. August 23rd, UFC Shanghai. You're taking off here soon. We already talked about the travel and the corners
yep.
and all that. To circle back to Pereira, obviously a win over him, Kyle, that would like put you right back in the thick of things. It's not like you're getting this return fight to the UFC against some nobody. Like this is a guy with a big name. Does
Yep.
that add like more pressure to you, or does it take the pressure off?
I feel like it takes the pressure off. I honestly think there's more pressure on him. He's 0-2 in his last two fights. He's fighting a guy that used to be in the UFC, got cut, now he's coming back. I feel like all the pressure's on him, and not really any pressure's on me. The only pressure on me is the pressure that I put on myself. But obviously, that's what everybody's saying. Everybody's like, man, like you're getting thrown back in there. You beat this guy and you might be fighting a ranked guy next. And I was like, that's nice and all, but that's not what I want. Like, I beat him. Then I just want to kind of just keep racking up wins and just keep racking up wins. And, I am 32. I know like I'm at the prime of my career right now, but I want to fight with Pereira, get through him, beat him, and then kind of still get my feet wet with my next like two or three fights, and then maybe we can talk about contenders and ranked guys. But there's a bunch of guys in this division that you can fight that are all tough, that are unranked, that are tougher matchups with them. Pereira would be against me.
You know what? I kind of think of when I think of you being back in the UFC now, and this is a maybe a far-fetched analogy, but I don't really think so. You look at Yusuf Zalal at
Yeah.
145 pounds,
Yep.
someone that the UFC let go. He leaves. I think he won 4 or 5 fights
Mm.
before the UFC brought him back, and now he's a way better version of himself than he was
Yeah.
before. He's in the top 15. I think he's in the top 10 now.
Yeah.
When you see someone like that literally went through, what you're going through now,
Mm.
like, does that give you like added hope and motivation to do the exact same thing?
Yeah. I mean, it obviously gives you motivation, right? Because you see a guy who's going through the same thing you've gone through, and now he's like you said, he's ranked maybe top 10 or top 15, and it's like, man, like I know I can compete with all of these guys. I know on my best night I can compete with anybody that's in the division. I just have to go out there and showcase it. And yeah, it's motivating to see somebody that has gone through the same thing as me. I also look at Brandon Moreno. He went kind of through the same thing as well. He got cut from the UFC. I think he had one fight or two, came back and became champ after that. So yeah, it's very motivating to see from other guys. And I saw what's his name got called up. Montino got called up too. Obviously, the fight didn't go his way, but it's just good to see that some guys are getting called back up prior to when they got cut, because that you know for me at least, seeing that it's motivating me more and more. But it just gives you hope that like when guys do get cut, if you do go on a crazy run again, that you can get signed again. So it's like it's not like this career is one and done. There's always things that are going to help you just kind of push forward and stay focused on your plan.
Excited to see you back in there, my man.
Thank you.
Last thing from me, official prediction for all the bettors out there that are going to run to the sports book and throw some money down. Give me a round. Give me how it ends. What's the official prediction from Kyle Daukaus?
Man, I'd say second or third round finish.
All right, Kyle, great talking to you. I appreciate you jumping on and doing this. As always, though, before we do sign off, I want to give you the floor. Anyone you want to thank, anything you want to plug, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody that's the support that I had, with the career of being in the UFC before. People have stuck with me and stuck with the support. I'm very grateful for everybody. I'm very grateful, for life and for God and for people just trying to help me out. And this is things are in my life I feel like are all happening for a reason. This is one of them, and I'm very grateful for it. My brother and I just opened the gym up, like I said, it's called The Forge in Philadelphia. It's in Parkwood, which is like 2 minutes from my house. So just look it up. We're The Forge Philly on Instagram. You can check us out. Come over. First three practices are free. So you try it out, like it, stick with us, and we'll make you into, a lot better of a fighter than you guys have ever been.